Pitch to Pro is the official podcast of Ozark United FC. This will be our platform to tell our story about the club and the special place that we call home, Northwest Arkansas. This is a journey. We want to bring you along for the ride. We'll share what's going on behind the curtain, help educate the community at large about soccer, our league, and give updates on the progress of the club along the way. Together, we'll explore and unpack our journey to professional soccer, the magic that is NWA, our community, and talk all things soccer from on the pitch to behind the scenes, telling the story of our club. Pitch to Pro podcast is proudly sponsored by podcastvideos.com. Podcastvideos.com is Northwest Arkansas's premier podcast recording studio. Equipped with industry-leading equipment, the recording studio and services save you time, money, and hassle. They are dedicated to helping you create, record, and publish high-quality podcasts for your audience. Be sure to check them out today at podcastvideos.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Pitch to Pro podcast. I'm Wes Harris, Managing Director for Ozark United, Northwest Arkansas's professional soccer club playing in the United Soccer League. I'm really excited because I'm back here for part 2 with my chat with Wyatt, Mateo, and Brandon. If you missed it, go check out part 1 on pitchtopro.com. Boys, last time we were talking about just playing for OZFC U19s. We talked about just what was different about it. And then kind of one of the bigger things was the opportunity to go to MLS Next Fest, which is the largest recruiting event in North America, I think. Somebody quoted that to me. So don't kill me in the comments if it's incorrect. And just the opportunities that came out of that, right? All the eyeballs and the conversations that you guys had. Mm-hmm. So coming out of that, now you guys are getting kind of hot and heavy into the recruiting process and like trying to decide what are you guys trying to do. It's a stressful time. Like, can you guys just walk us through what that was like for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, so after Fest for me, at least, lots and lots of emails and calls with coaches. Almost every day I was on a call with a different coach. Really just trying to find like the right fit for me. Whether it's like for both the program, like the actual soccer program and the school location and everything. So there were a lot of calls that were not very long because I discovered, oh, this is not at all where I want to go. But then there were some calls that would get up over an hour because I was really interested. I was asking questions, trying to figure out more. So it was a very busy time trying to find like, the right place to be.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was a little bit different than why I don't think I had near as much interest as him. Not to say that's better or worse at all. But I know that Wyatt had a lot more, definitely a lot more calls than I did. I think I probably had a handful, maybe 5 or 6 calls. I only had, 5, 6, 7 schools reach out. So, I think that just goes back to me figuring out whether I wanted to play college soccer or not. That was a bit of a process that I kind of alluded to on the other episode.
Yeah.
It was, I think, like I said, Wyatt's probably more hectic, but mine was more spread out. I think probably around after 2 to 3 weeks, I think I narrowed it down to the final 3 schools that I was thinking about, 3 or 4 schools. And then at that point, I was just waiting on decisions.
Yeah.
And finally just making a decision. So, yeah.
What about you, Brandon?
Yeah, for me, it was probably similar to Wyatt. Just calling having calls with schools that reached out to me and seeing if they're a fit. Also doing a lot of research on schools and also reaching out to schools, just everything. So I kind of narrowed it down, like a big narrow down because I had a certain criteria. But then I chose NWAC because NWAC was, I think, the best situation for me in terms of where I want to go next. So,
okay. So I think I didn't want to cut you off, so hold your thought.
No worries.
But all of you guys talked about doing research and understanding fit. Tell everybody, especially for people, I think, it's good just in general, but for people that are a few years younger than you, and it is kind of like this big scary thing coming up on a lot of this has to do with just where you want to go to college, if that's what you want to do. But talk about that process for you guys. What did you guys have? You said you had some criteria. What were those? How were you thinking about it in terms of as you're evaluating these opportunities in front of you?
I think that's what I wanted to do is piggyback off of Brandon. I think research is the most important part, probably, but in picking a school. I think it gets pretty easy once you get down to 2 to 3. I think first narrowing it down to how many schools you want to reach out to or who you want to reach out to is the hardest part. I know I thought it was very overwhelming at first because everyone asks you, what do you want in a school? So to me, I thought it was a silly question, not in a rude way, almost, because how am I going to know exactly what I want? I think for anyone looking for schools now, I think it's a lot easier to figure out what you don't want. So I think you start super broad. You can just go to websites that help people narrow it down. You want a big city, a little city, coast, mountains, beach, wherever. And then from there, you narrow it down. And then also the biggest thing is a lot of people don't know what they want to do yet in college. I don't know if either of these guys haven't narrowed down, but I had my mind set on medicine, so it was easy for me. But I know there are a ton of people who just say, yeah, I'm going to school. I'm going to figure it out. I'll go gen ed for a year or two, and then hopefully I'll narrow it down. But I think that's another part. It's just making sure that if you have a couple ideas, to make sure that your school has what you want to do. Because there were schools that reached out to me, but their science program was non-existent. They had no research opportunities, and that doesn't help me at all. So like, hey, for that reason, that's why I can't. So I think just making the list of what you definitely don't want, and then the couple of things that are absolute non-negotiables, as opposed to making a list of the 20 things that you want to see in the school, because I think that's a lot more overwhelming.
Sweet approach.
Yeah, for me, I have no clue what I want to do, no clue for any of that. So I think that's why mine kind of took a little bit longer. It's like a more complicated process because I didn't really have a great way to narrow it down. Because I don't care if I lived in a big city, small city, like wherever. I just wanted to find somewhere to play. And so a lot of the time I spent looking at finding the best place to play. So obviously I wanted the school to be like, I wouldn't just go to any school, but almost. And so I was really trying to dive into like the program, the culture of the program, not necessarily just the results of the program, but like the culture of the program, how they approach player advancement, like getting you better. Like, what does that look like? Will I actually be, gaining knowledge, gaining technical ability while I'm there? What is the competition like? All of this kind of stuff. And so that's what really helped me start to kind of narrow things down, just purely because I have no clue what I want to study.
Which is totally normal, by the way.
This is a weird one.
Seriously, he is in the minority. Like, there's very, very few that know what they want to do, which is great. Like, to just have that bug and know. And by the way, this was not even on my radar, like when I was going to school at all. But that's the path of life, guys. Right. So, to know what you want to do is incredible. And to not yet have that spark of passion and just like, I just want to keep playing, and that's what I know. And so that's your focus. Like that, this is why I wanted to talk about it, is because, where you had like, I must have a really good science program and opportunity for research because this is what I'm going to do. And, you knew like I wanted East Coast because I wanted something new, a different environment that I've not been in, and why it's a little more focused on like diving deep into the soccer program.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Brandon, you said you had criteria too, but it's different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's so interesting to hear everybody's process.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I want to go into business, and pretty much most schools have business, so it was a little bit easier. So when I was looking for schools, I was mainly looking in terms of soccer, so like roster sizes, how many players are international, like the age of the players. So that kind of went through my mind first, and then I was looking at the school after. But I would say, like, for some advice, just be proactive, and there's no, like, start as early as possible. There's no,
For sure.
It's better to start early than late.
Something that caught up with me. I procrastinated. I had a lot of people in my life telling me to, hurry up and get on research. And then also some people don't like focus on finance. Some people, they don't have to worry about the financial situation, but I'd say 90% of people do. So I think if there's one thing, or one of the things that you should take away, is definitely most schools I have something like a financial calculator or what have you. And then I'd say definitely look into the finance, because you don't want to find your dream school and then they give you your package and it's $100,000 a year or something crazy like that. So
try to avoid college loans at all costs. I did not be in debt till I'm 80. Anyway, that's a whole other podcast series. I think it's so cool and interesting to hear everybody's thought process behind stuff. But you said you can never start too early. When did you guys start, or let me put it this way. When do you wish you had started?
So in terms of recruiting process in general for me, I started making highlight reels and emailing coaches probably freshman year.
Wow.
And so freshman year for D1 coaches, they can't even respond to your emails until the summer of your sophomore year by the NCAA. I saw all the NCAA schools.
Yeah.
And so it was just like purely just to get on like the radar for them. And so I was very consistent with that through all the way through until I committed. But in terms of, finding the right school, that probably started, or like finding what I wanted in the school. It probably didn't start until things actually started ramping up, because to be honest, like I thought before Fest, I had one offer. And so I was like, well, I don't really know if I'm going to get much of a choice. So I hadn't been researching schools much. But then when I started to get more, then I saw like, oh, okay, I need to make decisions between these offers. So I started looking at programs, schools, everything like that, just trying to sift through and find like what I really wanted to do or wanted to be.
I think the recruiting part, I think Wyatt, he hit I don't know, you said the nail on the head. Basically, I think that especially if you're going far, I don't know what these guys' what their prerogatives were in terms of where they wanted to go, but I think for me especially, I'm not going to sit here and be salty or say that I was wronged by not being chosen by some of the schools that I went to, but you could definitely tell that the relationships in the schools in the Northeast, because these kids have been coming to camps literally since they were freshmen.
Oh yeah,
since they've been they were getting clobbered, but at least they noticed them, and so they had a couple good moments there. Whatever, they've been coming back for year after year, 2 to 3 camps a year, and then that's what gets them on the radar. And then they might not be the best, but they know that that coach knows that they're consistent. They show up, and then they do their job every single time. And I'd say that Wyatt hit it pretty well. But in terms of researching your school, I think it should be as early as possible, especially if you're academically inclined. If you want to go pro and you just want the best team, then I think that's one thing. But if you want to go and pursue higher education or just you're academically inclined, then I think that should start probably the end of your sophomore year, because that's a real grind. I mean, you're not going to have all 24 hours in the day. Maybe you're going to have an hour or two a week, especially if you're playing on a team like Ozark or another high-level team. I think that you should start that really as early as you know that you want to go somewhere for academics.
Right. Yeah. I think I started making highlight reels my freshman year, but it was to send to academies, not for college. Then I started, me personally, I started like reaching out to colleges like summer going into senior year, which is late, which I would say I would recommend definitely doing it like would you be said sophomore years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's funny how early stuff is starting now versus, I won't even give you a number, but a long time ago, I was doing the same thing.
All right.
And it's wild. I feel for you guys, because like the competition is so crazy.
Not even just in the States.
No.
For D1s,
for D1s,
all those guys overseas.
Yeah. I mean, with D1s, especially on the boys' side too, just with like the international rules and like what's going on there and how that has shifted. And you talked about, I mean, you kind of threw a little bit of foreshadowing into that aspect, where you said you actually started by sending your highlight reels to academies instead of colleges.
Yeah.
And so the path to pro is kind of changing and shifting a little bit. Like, you absolutely can go pro through college. It happens all the time. It's also, though, become a very real option to go through the academy system, which is still, I would say, in its relative infancy and like still being built out. And obviously we hope to continue to build upon that with what we do here. But that's interesting to hear you say that you started like with the academy side of things versus colleges.
Yeah.
It's indicative, I think, of the landscape now.
Yeah, because when I first like reached out to got my first academy tryout, I just saw like the level and like the facilities they had, and it just made me want to like go on and reach out to more and just try to get my name out there. That was my thing, because I didn't know anything about college at that time. I had no clue.
Yeah. You just knew you wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah, I just want to be a part of like an academy environment. For me.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
I would say similar. I did that as well. I emailed. So I got one trial. I was sporting Kansas City. And well, I obviously didn't make it, but right. But I think like, instead of that being a negative thing for me, it was actually a really positive thing, because I went up there and like it was a 3-day trial and I hung all 3 days. Like I was scoring goals and everything. And you know, I had a good talk with the coach afterwards. He's like, you're like practically right there. It's just, there's no point to bring in out of state player when we could find someone probably your level in Kansas City, because there's so many players in Kansas City. But that was a really good thing for me to hear, actually, because I've seen all these guys, and now I think it's like 4 or 5 of the guys that I trained with those 3 days, I signed pro contracts already. And so it's like, to know that like I am kind of right there with those guys is a really positive thing for me.
That's good. That's awesome. I like that, you know, that's a good attitude and mindset to have, because that could have easily kind of gone the other way. Right. So I guess talk about I guess each of your programs. Like, where are you going? What are you excited about? Why'd you choose it? Like you kind of put it through the funnel, you put it through your list, and then kind of talk about how you got there and kind of what led you to that decision.
So I'm going to John Brown University in Silent Springs, not too far from here. But really, like, the biggest thing for me there is Coach Ryan. So he coached me when I played in the UPSL for 2 seasons. And I think like that, my growth in those 2 seasons was, it was like insane, which playing, you know, UPSL with grown men helped as well. But like the way he can teach the game is unlike anyone else I've ever had. And so that was a big thing that pushed me there. Just knowing that I was going to go, have that as my coach for 4 years. And like GB said, like, I do want to go pro. That's my ultimate dream. And so like, I really need college to be a time when I grow even more than I am right now. And so I knew that if I could go with Coach Ryan, that I would be getting that. And so then I went, visited and everything. Loved the campus. It's super cool. Met like everybody there is really nice. And so like during my visit, I kind of realized that like that was the place I wanted to be at.
Then
so
you're learning from a former pro himself. He knows what it takes to get to that level.
Yes, for me, I think a big decision is Coach Dean, because after playing under him the last season, I grew a lot. And also when I was going to ID camps for other colleges, they also knew Coach Dean and they also recommended me to play under him and develop with him. So that's a big reason why I'm going to NWAC, and plus my parents probably like that decision too.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's great.
So I'm going to Russell Sage in New York. There's 2 campuses, and one in Troy, one in Albany. I think the biggest thing that drew me there was Coach Amir. I think he's extremely, extremely personable. I used to think that I wouldn't meet another coach that was as personable and as into your life, and at the same time good at coaching as Coach Scott. But then, you know, I met Amir. I haven't played under him yet, but I mean, the dude knows more about me than I think some of the people at my school who I've gone through all 4 years or all 12 years and all 4 schools with. So
yeah,
I think that's pretty cool. I think the biggest thing was him. Just phone calls were very frequent, and then also pretty long. Just like Wyatt said, you know, time slips by. You talk to him for 30 minutes to an hour, and then you're just waiting for the next one, essentially. I think also another thing that drew me was also, you know, not to nerd out, but specifically the hospital. There's a big hospital near the campus, which is Albany's main hospital, Albany Med. And I won't say too much about it, but, you know, I'm just excited with the certifications I've earned here, through my hard work, and the programs that we have at the high school. I'll be able to apply those by going to school and playing soccer, and also getting hours under my belt and experience. So I think the combination of those 2 things, you know, on top of some good people, advisors and teachers that I met at the school, that was a no-brainer for me. And then on top of that, I think one thing that I should say, I don't know how these guys feel about it, but a question that I always like to ask the coaches was, you know, obviously they can't, no coach can promise playing time through a phone call. And I think it's silly to even think that, but you can ask the state of the position that you're going to play in. So my favorite go-to was, what are the guys that you have in the position there? And do you see me playing within the next 1 or 2 years? Because I'm not interested in going to commit 4 years of my life to a college. And then I'm sat down for 2 or 3 of them. I want to play as soon as I can, hopefully as a freshman. And so Amir said there was room for me to compete and get that spot as an 18-year-old on that team. So I think that was also a big motivator to go there, as that I knew that I had the opportunity to play.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a massive point as well that, you may go to these, some of these bigger schools or more well-known schools, and, it's great. They have the pedigrees, the coach, some incredible players that have come out of there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not in that 0.05% of those players, or at a lot of the time, that's where the internationals come into play, right? That are a little bit older and XYZ. You may be sitting for 3 years or 4. Then you just sat.
Exactly.
You just not wasted your time necessarily, but didn't get the competitive, growth and experience that you're trying to get while you're there. If that's, being a collegiate athlete is no joke. It's a commitment. And if you're going to commit to that, you want to be able to point to something and say, I got that experience and played more than 5 minutes in my career.
Mm-hmm.
So I think also a consideration set, you kind of just laid out and talking to the coach, that I'm sure you guys all talk to the coaches about and kind of weighed within yourselves. Am I going to play before my senior year? Because I know even sometimes like that in high school, it's like that, where coaches are just nope, I don't play. That's right. You don't play until you're a senior, which is wild to me. But anyway, neither here nor there. So, okay, last little bit here. You guys aren't done yet. You still have kind of, regionals, kind of the playoff into MLS Next Cup, depending on how you guys do. So what does that look like for you guys? What's the schedule, wrapping up school and high school season even still, and then getting to the playoffs and then getting ready for college?
I think Wyatt knows the most about this. So
I don't know a whole lot, but we're in the the heat of high school season right now. We're exactly halfway through actually.
Yeah, literally.
So we have half of our high school season left. But I do know that playoffs are coming. They're coming up, and they're actually earlier this year because of the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So they're coming sooner than they normally would. So we haven't been training really as Ozark because everyone's at their high school stuff, and have practice every day or game every day, 2 times a week at least. We'll see. We'll see if we train for maybe a couple weeks before going into that. But I think we've already shown that we can play with all of these teams. And we actually know a lot of the teams. So they merge us with the Kansas City kind of region for the playoff qualifiers. And so we used to, we've played a bunch of those teams before. We know them and we know we can play with them. So I think, we're going in pretty high expectations, I'd say. And so it's going to be fun and all that. But I definitely want to perform well, compete.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us are ready for it to be over. And not just emotionally, but also I think we had one or 2 surprise losses during the season, and we shouldn't have given up, but maybe a tie or 2. I think that we know we're probably we're the best team within a while.
And you guys clearly still have that drive and hunger too. Right? No, I didn't see it because I know you did. Some of you guys have known, okay, I'm going to go play at the next level. It can be very easy to get that senioritis kind of, and have that let up. But from what I saw, I did watch a lot of your games, believe it or not. You can watch them on YouTube. All of the games, by the way, every age group, we put them up there, which is great to watch. I try to watch them all if I can, but it was very clear, even after Fest and multiple weeks after Fest, when I knew people were accepting, it could have been, guys, I'm done. I got it. Why do I need to play here? And there was not a single let up that I saw.
And that's the other thing I think, it's such a great group of guys. And we're all so close because a lot of us have been playing together since 77, 99 age groups.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the last last run together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it'll be emotional for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think
Like,
win or lose with that last game, I think it's all might come out. But
There's definitely a lot more emotions on Monday than I thought. So on Monday, guys, we had and you guys probably saw this on socials. We had essentially a signing day for you guys, right? Like that was just massive to have an entire roster go play collegiately. And we wanted to celebrate the heck out of that. And so we thought it would be really cool to kind of do a friends and family and kind of bring you guys together and celebrate you guys. So talk about the event and like, what was that like for you guys? I know it kind of made it hit.
yeah.
Right. Like I saw a couple guys like, oh man, and it may have been like the first time that really hit for you.
Yeah.
And started to think about it.
Yeah, it was a great event, It was crazy when we all lined up at the one long table to see just how many. Like, I feel like that's when it clicked for me. Like, wow, that's a lot of guys going to play college. But yeah, then it also hit the, like this chapter's coming to a close, and we all are moving on to our thing, and we're all happy with what we're moving on to. But like, this was we spent a long time with these guys, and so like it's going to be rough when that last game hits to just like we're never going to play with them again.
I mean, basically the same thing Wyatt said. Especially, I know that these guys are staying in the state. Wyatt not too far, Brandon basically just down the road. But I'm going to New York, and so I sort of alluded to in my speech. Like these guys are always going to be my brothers, my family, my teammates. I always consider them that. But at the end of the day, just like Wyatt said, I mean, it's over when it's over. There's no going back. There's no like we're not hanging on by a thread waiting for a result, and then we'll get another game. It's once that last game's played. I mean, we're done. There's no next year. Especially once high school's over, I'm going to miss a lot of those guys that we played 4 years with that I've grown up with. But I think the event was really well done. Shout out to you and the Ozark staff and the Marksbury family as well. I think it was really nice. My family, my parents enjoyed it a lot. And so I think, it was a great experience.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a good experience seeing former teammates, also everyone lined up, seeing where they're going and hearing the speeches too. That was a good.
Some were pretty funny, but
that was fun for me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get to interact with you guys like as much as the coaches do and your teammates do, right? So that was really fun for me to get to watch, just as an afterthought bystander over here.
Yeah, and it was just overall a good event for like the families and the community. So I really liked it. It was nice.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I'm glad we were able to find the time that worked for pretty much everybody. Hopefully I know that there was a couple that couldn't make it, but you're always going to have that. So, right. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you guys for joining me. I think we'll cut it there. Super proud of you guys. Super proud of the whole team.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Really appreciate the way that you guys you were the torchbearer. Was your Coach Scott Coach Scott built a really nice and Miss Jennifer built a really nice like picture frame with their committed graphic, and then Coach Scott took time and a lot of effort and thought into what legacy would that player leave behind them on NWA soccer with their teammates within the community. So really quickly before we end, actually, I'm going to make you tell everybody what your legacy is, each of you.
Okay.
Brandon, you first.
I was unbreakable.
Okay.
Because I'm unbreakable. Like, I guess
He's a beast.
Emotionally and physically, I'm unbreakable. I guess that's the legacy that Coach Scott and a lot of people know me for. So yeah.
Thank you. I was the thermostat. I guess it's because I think when I come out ready to play, I guess the other guys can feed off that energy. I like to think I'm a pretty social person, so I'm not down in the dumps a whole lot. So I think whenever I come out there smiling and ready to play, I think a lot of guys, it helps them to get in that mood.
I tell, whether I'm right, wrong, or whatever, but I saw something one day and I liked it a lot, and I coach younger kids. So U10s, there'll be U11s next year with the age change and all that fun stuff. But I heard somewhere that you can control 3 things as a soccer player. that nobody else can control for you, and you have complete control over. One is how hard you work. How brave are you, whether it's going into a tackle or to take somebody on or to take the shot, whatever. How brave are you? Then I think probably my favorite one, which I think solves 80% of issues on the field, is how high is your energy? And so you should take that with, and I know you did, but like from somebody else, not Coach Scott, and somebody not on your team, take that with like a really high degree of a compliment, because energy is one of those things that for me, as I look and I watch, you can see games momentum shift, right? And a lot of the time the energy shifts with it. And so to have somebody on your team, I can't tell you how invaluable it is, that can be that engine for energy. Like those players matter a lot.
I appreciate it.
So that one, when he brought that out, I was like, oh, I need him to come talk to my boys. So anyway, I digress.
Yeah, so mine was torchbearer, kind of just because, you know, we've been with these guys for a long time, just help lead the charge here. And, you know, we're just like setting this example for the age groups below us. I know at the signing event, I saw a ton of the younger kids there.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think it's really good for them to see this, because I know for us, we always look to the older age groups, and like the ballers out of the older age groups, none of them would go play. You would have like 1 or 2 or 3 a year. And so I think it's really good for the younger age groups to see all of us signing so that they can be motivated to do this.
It's massive. It's massive. It's absolutely correct. I mean, I always, you know, whether it was high school, whether it was within your club, like you're always looking up and like you thought the older players were cool and like, oh, you know, they're balling out like, oh my God, you know, and then you get to that level yourself and it's about the example that you leave, right? So to have that example and have you, I mean, you guys were the first to ever wear the crest, like there's a massive responsibility. And so I give you guys a ton of credit and just really appreciate the way you guys went about your business and then represented the brand, the crest, the club, and our values. I know you guys talked a lot about them. And that meant a lot to us when we talked about, do we want to do this? And then the how are we going to do this? That was important for us, that we made sure that was going to be kind of part of it and that they'd be talked about, standards held, all that kind of thing. So again, just thank you, boys. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. And can't wait to tune into some NAIA and Russell Sage and probably be able to go watch some home matches for you two, for sure. If you're ever in the vicinity, let us know.
I'll come to some of the games for sure.
But yeah, you're going to be a little more regional up there in your conference. But
sure.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming in and sharing a little bit more about your experience, and congrats again. I know you guys are all going to do great things, whether it's on the pitch or off of it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, that'll do it for this episode. Appreciate you listening and tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. To catch more content, please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all the other major platforms, on X and LinkedIn and all of them. Follow us on YouTube at Pitch to Pro or pitchtopro.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast content for more episodes. Appreciate it, guys. Until next time, cheers, Northwest Arkansas.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Pitch to Pro podcast. Be sure to tune in again in 2 weeks for the next installment. And check out the Stoppage Time series for a recap of today's episode. Be sure to find us at Pitch to Pro on YouTube, Instagram, and everywhere you get your podcasts. Until next time, Northwest Arkansas, cheers.